Good morning. It's another fine day, another fine video time for this great soul to erupt her thoughts and meanings in a memo form that synchronizes with reality in a fantastic, unmotivated way that has no goals and only to appropriate itself in a digital form on the internet for everyone to appreciate on some weird, unpredictable level. Yeah. Hello, everybody. I've been playing with my hair a little bit. I've been playing with the direction of the part and like where I put the part. So like, I'll try parting it. I used to part like just along this line right here, and then just like drag it across. And then sometimes I would put the same line on the other side and just drag it across, and then like sort of do stuff with that. And that looked good. But there's only so many things that I can do with that, and so I'm starting to sort of mess around with like, and I don't really want to do like the half and half. That doesn't look bad. It's just not what I want to do with my hair. And at some point I probably will end up like doing that because I like having fun with my hair every morning, and I like doing something brand new every morning. I want to be one of those people that like folks see me on walking around and they're like, wow, just like every single day there's something new with Calla. I want that to be my effect. And I want people to respond to me very specifically about that. So I'm making some decisions right now. So I'm wearing pink leggings. The dress that I'm wearing is like super short, and that's fine most of the time because I like showing off my legs. I think I have really nice legs. But it's not so great when I'm going to work and I have to look a little bit like a professional girl. So I put on some leggings. They're really cute and they're pink. So I'm going to put on pink eyeliner, and that is going to be my carrier between the top of my face and my legs is going to be the pink eyeliner. We'll see how well that works. Usually pretty good. All right. Yes. This stuff is so good. I did have something that I wanted to talk about today because it's something that's been on my mind, because it's something that's been in my way, and I think it's important to discuss our obstacles, because how else can we overcome them if we don't try to beat them out as though they're vile beasts claiming our souls. Okay, so here's the thing. Level design. I hate it. And it's not that I hate it because I'm bad at it. I don't think that I'm bad at it. In fact, some of my favorite levels are ones that I've designed. No, I don't actually believe that. Not even for a minute. But I have gotten compliments from people on what I create for levels. And I think because, for one, I focus on fun. If I play something and I don't enjoy the experience of it, then I don't want to do it. So, first and foremost, when I'm making a level, I just want to make it fun. So, I'm building something that makes me go, ooh, that's a cool thing. Like, that's awesome. I want to do that. Or, that's a challenge, and it takes me a minute to figure it out. Like, I struggle to do something, I know that somebody else is going to struggle to do something, and I want that experience for everybody. I think when designing a game, that's fun. I'm not as enthusiastic about it when playing games. I played Dark Souls with a friend of mine, and I was terrible at it, but I beat it, so at least I can say that. And that's like the charm of the game. I actually really like the game. Um, it's a lot of fun and it's exactly my kind of game. I really like third person games. I don't care too much for first person. Um, I tend to do just like two D games, top down, side scrollers. Precision platformers are a favorite of mine. And I just avoid if something's 3D. I tend to just sort of shy away from it a little bit, unless somebody's just like, "This is a game for you, Calla. Like this is exactly your kind of game." So there are people out there who really know what I like. My friend Ten is among those people. Whenever she sees something that she thinks I'll like, she'll be like, "Oh yes, Calla's gonna love this," and she's usually right. She gets it. Um, But that's beside the point. This is all about level design. I'm not talking about games that I love. I talked about that the other day. Um, so the first and foremost is to make a game that I think is fun. Make a level that I think is fun. If I can't enjoy it, then why would somebody else? I just can't expect somebody else to enjoy a level that I don't enjoy. That doesn't make any sense to me. So if I'm creating a challenge, my first thought is, well, is this going to be enjoyable for me to do? If the answer is no, why am I doing it? Just a second. The other thing that I think is paramount besides fun is at what stage during the level process am I in? And is that stage being properly represented? That's actually there's three things. Scratch that. So structurally, I like to design levels, one for fun, which I already talked about. And then the second is, what am I trying to teach the player? So each level tends to introduce something new because that's how you keep the player interested. Or like each world kind of. Like if I'm building a mono level game. So well so like if I'm building a game where I have a whole world and there's a bunch of different levels in each world, then that's a little different. Because I can take more time introducing new concepts and new techniques and stuff like that. But so am I introducing a new technique? At which point I do change the way I'm designing the level. Because the first stage is to introduce the player to the concept, right? So you, in sort of a safe way, almost like it's not even a challenge, I introduce the player to a new concept. Maybe through challenging them in ways that they were challenged before, but the new concept isn't a challenge, it's just a teaching lesson. Like, here's this new thing, here's a moment. Then I start introducing complexity, not necessarily challenge yet, um, but I show them how that new thing can be used to move forward or how that thing is used to deter them. If it is a new enemy, of course, a lot of these rules have to move around to the fact that it's an enemy and not anything else. But so I add just a little more complexity. I base this. There was a YouTube video that I watched about the level design in Mega Man, and like all of the Mega Man games follow this one level design pattern, and it works really well and it's very reliable, which is why Mega Man is still one of the best games series. They're still making really great games because they're still kind of following this formula that really works. And so if something works and there's no reason to change it, why change it? Just leave it the way it is. So you introduce the new problem, you introduce slightly more complexity, and then you start introducing challenging aspects of that new problem. Um, and a lot of video games just sort of like follow this pattern, and it's a really good pattern to follow, and I think it's highly recommended, personally. And oh gosh, so I've been following this pattern in Quiver Quarrel during my design of introducing something and then sort of surreptitiously sometimes introducing something like in level 1 of Quiver Quarrel. At one point, you see slime for the first time, or well, it's not really slime. It's like slime. It's like Ninja Turtle slime. It's in the sewers, so it's sewage, but we call it slime because sewage is disgusting. Uh, you're introduced to slime for the first time, and it's just there. It's just kind of in the corner. There's just a little bit of it right there, and you see it. And if you haven't figured out the rest of the level yet, or like how to get to the next section of the level, then you'd just be like, oh, here's this green stuff. Like you'd see it, and you wouldn't necessarily interact with it. But if you did interact with it, if you touched it, you'd find that you got hurt. So, introduction of the tool. And at that point, people should know that this is some new thing they've never seen before, and that if they have interacted with it, that it hurts them. So then we introduce complexity. After that section in level 1, we move over to the swamp, or the sewer, the main sewer pipe system, where we have, and this is kind of spoiler alert, so if you haven't played the demo, go play the demo right now, and kind of get a feel for what I'm talking about here. At that point, then you go into the sewer maze, which is sort of a collection of pipes that go back and forth, and they go all over the place, and it's kind of easy to get lost in, and there's a lot of sewage in there, a lot of slime in that section, and so like when you're running around, you're kind of having to avoid the slime, and it's totally doable. Like you could, if you're really careful and you use the tools that the game has given you up to this point, there's no reason that you shouldn't get through this. Like, just take your time and explore and fight snakes. So there we go. We have added complexity. And then, after complexity is the challenge layer. And the challenge layer can be like long. Like you could have a bunch of challenge layer, especially for like a really fun kind of moment. People want more of that specific challenge, and they'll probably beg you to have more of them. And that is the point where you have stuff, a lot of dying, or a lot of restarting the level or struggling, and that is where you really get to the meat of your new piece, like set piece for the level. Like, okay, we have slime. Slime hurts us. Slime is everywhere. And then, for the grand finale of slime in this section of the game, slime is chasing us. So after I've introduced slime and after I've created complexity with slime, I add the challenge layer of slime, which is the slime chase, where you press a switch, the staircase disappears, and then the room starts filling with slime, and there's a gate there, and you can't pass through the gate yet. Once the slime starts to accumulate enough, the gate opens up, and you start running. And you have to run as fast as you can through this level. This is kind of a thing that I picked up from the original Battletoads, actually. Because Battletoads always used to have these, like, they loved having these levels where something's chasing you and you have to, like, get away from it. Crash Bandicoot did this too. I always loved Crash. Um, they would have, like, the classic Indiana Jones rolling ball, snowball, stuff like that. And you had to, like, run away from it towards the camera, which was really cool. I don't know of any other game that sort of does that. Most games don't push that kind of fourth wall thing where the camera positioning really, like, is uncomfortable, because you really do have to just, like, know the level, memorize the level, and know where you're going. So that's level design from, like, pragmatic point of view, in my opinion. Like, I'm creating this thing, I show you how to use it, I show you how it exists in the world, and then I make you suffer for it a little bit. And okay, so that's cool. So we know that level design is fun. We know that we have to teach players things, add complexity, and then challenge them. We can't just, like, throw a brand new challenge at them. I mean, you could. It depends on the type of game you're making. But personally, I really like this, like, sort of slow accumulation of technique method. I would just as soon all games do this. As a bit of a video game weenie, I'll be honest. If something's too hard, I don't really like it, said the girl who likes Dark Souls. And there's one other thing about level design that I think is very important. And these kinds of things, this is why level design takes so long for me, because I'm like, I need to make sure that all of these buttons are pressed. All of these moments, these important things, remain at the forefront of my levels. And the last thing that I think is very, very important is moments. So there's this YouTube channel, and I love it, and they made, like, a bunch of videos and then disappeared and stopped doing them. They were just these video essays called Every Frame a Painting. You may have heard of it. And in this YouTube series, they talk about film and how, in, like, the most masterful movies, you could look at just about any frame in the movie and it would be beautiful, carefully managed, and meaningful and impactful. And this is one of the things that really is just, like, what kills my motivation to be a level designer, because I want every single experience in Quiver Quarrel. Like, if you are in a level, I don't want you to be like, I don't know where I am, or I don't know, this is a boring moment. I want everything to be like, this is a moment right now. This is a moment. This is a moment. This is a moment. So that the whole game is comprised of, like, full, cohesive experiences. There's nothing there's nothing wrong with not doing this. Lord knows I've played some games myself where, like you go in and you fight wave after wave of baddies on a in a desert. I think Serious Sam is like this. Although Serious Sam does have moments, like major moments, where you're like, this is a thing that is really cool. Like they really go out of their way on that game. Um, Speaking of first person shooters, yeah. But beside the point, I think when designing a level, like moments matter. That feeling that like every single second that I'm playing this game has value to the designer is important. And I've played a lot of games where it felt almost like that. But then like there was all these moments that just feel like filler moments where maybe I've learned the lesson I need to learn already and I'm ready to move on, like let's go. And then I'm playing for another 20 minutes of the same stuff repeatedly. Maybe that's just me. I've had people tell me I'm good at games, but I really don't think that that's true. Um, it's sweet to hear. And I love playing games. But I feel no compulsion to be good at them necessarily. So maybe that's just like, I appreciate you telling me I'm good at this, but that's not my aim. I'm not playing it to be good at it. I'm playing it for the joy of the experience. Anyway, that's beside the point. I'm not here to talk about whether or not I enjoy games. I'm here to do my makeup. So, almost done. When we're making a game, we want players to be inspired to keep playing the game. We don't want them to just be like, oh, that's fun, I will keep playing because that's enjoyable. We want them to say, that's fun, like, I want to keep playing, like, this is really cool. What was that? What was this moment that happened? And you can't always like control whether that happens or not. So you have to increase your opportunistic chances of that happening instead. And to do that, one of the main things I do is just try to have moments. I try to have moments as often as possible, and try to increase the amount of. It's almost like a kind of tension, I would say, where the player is having this experience. And and in some ways it's sort of a mundane experience. Video gaming is kind of mundane if you think about it. If you've played more than your first game in your life, um, each new game kind of follows similar patterns to the point where like sometimes games try to teach more to you than you need to know because you already know all this stuff. And so it gets a little frustrating because you're like, I already know how to do this. This is easy. Like pressing A button to open a door. Like I've done this 100,000 times. I know how to do it again. And so you are trying to like ford this river of understanding that your player is experiencing what's technically kind of a mundane thing. I have the controller, it's the same controller I've always had in my hands. But you want to make that mundanity a brand new, marvelous, wonderful experience. And by having these like interactive elements that bring them into a brand new experience that maybe they've never had and maybe is slightly adjacent to something that they've experienced before, which might actually be preferable, but that's a whole other video. Gotta write that down. Being momentous and making sure that the player knows that they're experiencing something that's brand new in a way, or that this matters, that what they're doing is important, will take you a long way. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that helped me. And I hope that that helps people understand why I struggle so much with getting Quiver Coral done, because I have to design levels. And as much fun as it is in the end, by looking at the final version of what I've made, actually doing it is not as much enjoyable, honestly. It's kind of no mas. Please. Alright, bye.